Purusha out at the moment with CGI. I was
We-
going to go and see that actually. Adi Purusha. It's about Ram. So, okay, go ahead then, Prabhu.
We still need to finish the previous chapter. We've got a couple of paragraphs left.
Oh, we still got more left. Okay, carry on then.
Okay. The milk from the breast of Devaki was transcendental nectar because the same milk had been sucked by Lord Krishna. As such, the babies who sucked the breast of Devaki, which had touched the body of Lord Krishna, immediately became self-realized persons. The babies therefore began to offer their obeisances unto Lord Krishna, Balram, their father Vasudeva, and their mother Devaki. After this, they were immediately transferred to their respective heavenly planets.
All right, Archana.
After they departed, Devaki was stunned with wonder that her dead children had come back, had again been transferred to their respective planets. She could adjust the events only by thinking that the Lord Krishna can perform anything wonderful in his pastime because his potencies are all inconceivable. Without accepting the inconceivable, unlimited potencies of the Lord, one cannot understand that Lord is the Supreme Soul. By his ultimate potencies, he performs unlimited pastime, and no one can describe them in full, nor can anyone know them all. Sutta Goswami speaking Srimad Bhagavatam before the sages of Naimisaranya, headed by Saunaka Rishi, gave this verdict in the connection as follows.
Go on, Smita.
Great sages, please understand the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna are all eternal. They are not ordinary narrations of historical incidents. Such narrations are identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Anyone, therefore, who hears such narrations of the Lord's pastimes is immediately freed from the contamination of material existence. And those who are pure devotees enjoy these narrations as nectar entering into their ears. Such narrations were spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, the exalted son of Vyasadeva, and anyone who hears them, as well as anyone who repeats them for the hearing of others, becomes Krishna conscious. And only the Krishna conscious persons are eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta Purport of the 85th chapter of Krishna, in spiritual instruction for Vasudeva and the return of the 6 dead sons of Devaki by Lord Krishna.
Oh, that's a very nice full shruti there to get that blessing from Shukadeva Goswami himself, or Sutta Goswami is speaking this actually, and it's very nice. And the word is not invincible in that paragraph. It's inconceivable, Archana.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
No. It's all right. It's not your first language. You Gujarati, Mache. So
Yes.
I understand that. Inconceivable means beyond our understanding. The word in Sanskrit would have been achintya. In Sanskrit, the word is achintya. So Krishna is called achintya guna sarupa. Krishna's sarup is full of inconceivable guna. Achintya guna. There's one devotee called Achintya Guna. There's probably a few of them now. But Achintya Guna Sarupa is a name describing Lord Krishna, one who has inconceivable potencies. Now, the potencies of a Brahma Rishi like Vishwamitra Muni, they're also Achintya Guna. They're inconceivable. We can't understand. We can't begin to understand how Vishwamitra Muni created a tree that could bear children. Have you heard of a baby tree? Who's heard of a baby tree? Well,
Mhm.
in the Puranas, it's explained that Vishwamitra Muni created, not only did he create the second cosmos or second, what do they call it? Milky Way and second galaxy. I think it's a galaxy. But he also created a tree that could manufacture babies.
Oh.
You see, this is a Achintya Guna Sarup. This is just a rishi like Vishwamitra Muni, who was born a Kshatriya as a king, but became a Brahma rishi through his tapasya. Later, he fell down to the allurement of the society lady from Swagvashi. Her name was called, what's her name now? What was the name of the Swagvashi came and she turned his mind from tapasya? Begins with M.
Is it Menka?
Menaka, yes. And together, when they had a relationship together, sexual relationship, what was the name of the daughter? She was considered the most beautiful woman in the world. Begins with an S. Come on, Smita, I know you must know it.
I don't know. What the
Shakuntala.
name? Sorry?
Sakuntala, he said.
Her name was Shakuntala.
Oh, Shakuntala.
Shakuntala, that's the name of the daughter of Vishwamitra Muni and Menaka. So this is a Achintya Guna Sarupa. So because we're talking about this word inconceivable, I thought we would talk about it for your sake, so you understand. Tamne samajh pare? And invincible is Ajit, Achut, Achut or Ajit, invincible. You cannot be defeated, invincible. This is Ajit or Achuta. One cannot fall down from one's position. When Arjuna wanted to see the armies on Kurukshetra, he wanted to see who was on the side of the Kauravas and the Pandav. He wanted to see he had to fight. He said to Krishna, Senayo Ubhayo Madhya. Let's say it together. Senayo Ubhayo Madhya. Did you say that one?
No.
Senayo Ubhayo Madhya.
Sinayo
Sayo Upaya Madhya.
Ratam Stapaya Me Chuta.
Ratam
Satam Sapaya Merchita.
Ratam Stapaya Me Chuta.
Satam Sapaya Merchita.
Chuta.
Mechuta. Mechuta means Achuta. He said, Oh Achuta. Achuta means, Oh invincible one. Oh great, oh one who cannot be defeated. Ajit. He said, please, Stapaya, place my chariot, Ratam, Senayo Ubha. Ubhayo means in between. The Senayo. Senaya means the armies. Actually, this word Ubhayo means both. Put my Stapaya, put my Rata in between the two armies, O Achuta. Okay, so I'm just for your sake, Archana, I'm just going over this purely for your benefit. I
Thank
don't
you, Prabhuji.
care about the benefit of Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu or Smita. Oh, of course I do. It's
Thank you,
for everyone's
Prabhuji.
benefit we speak, isn't it? Including ourselves. So now let's ask Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu to start the exciting, wonderful story, which is the kidnapping of Subhadra and Lord Krishna visiting Shukadev and Bahulashva. It's a fantastic story. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay. After hearing of the incidents described in the last chapters, King Parikshit became more inquisitive to hear about Krishna and his pastimes, and thus inquired from Shukdev Goswami how his grandmother Subhadra was kidnapped by his grandfather. Arjuna, at the instigation of Lord Krishna, King Parikshit was very eager to learn how his grandfather kidnapped and married his grandmother.
Okay, this is the Granny Leela now. This is Granny and Grandpa time now. Oh, when I was a young man, I did this. Okay, carry on, Archana.
Thank you. Thus, Sukadeva Goswami began to narrate the story as follows. Once upon a time, King Parikshit's grandfather Arjuna, the great hero, was visiting several holy places of pilgrimage, and while thus traveling all over, he happened to come to Prabhakshetra. In Prabhakshetra, he heard the news that Lord Balrama was negotiating the marriage of Subhadra, the daughter of Arjun's maternal uncle, Vasudeva. Although her father, Vasudeva, and her brother Krishna were not in agreement with him, Balram was in favor of marrying Subhadra to Duryodhana. Arjuna, however, desired to against Subhadra's hand himself. As he thought of Subhadra and her beauty, Arjuna became more and more captivated with the idea of marrying her. And with a plan in mind, he dressed himself like a Vaishnava sannyasi, carrying a tridanda in his hand.
Smita, carry on.
The Mayavadi sannyasis take one danda or one rod, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis take 3 dandas or 3 rods. The 3 rods or 3 danda indicate that a Vaishnava sannyasi vows to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his body, mind, and words. The system of 3 danda sannyas has been in existence for a long time, and the Vaishnava sannyasis are called 3 dandis, or sometimes 3 dandi swamis, or 3 dandi goswamis. Do you want me to carry on? Or...
Yeah, carry on, Prabhuji.
Sannyasis are generally meant to travel all over the country for preaching work. But during the 4 months of the rainy season in India, from July through October, they do not travel, but take shelter in one place and remain there without moving. This non-movement of the sannyasi is called Chaturmasa Vrata. When a sannyasi stays in one place for these 4 months, the local inhabitants of that place take advantage of his presence to become spiritually advanced.
Carry on.
Arjuna, in the dress of a Tridanda sannyasi, remained in the city of Dwarka for the 4 months of the rainy season, devising a plan whereby he could get Subhadra as his wife. None of the inhabitants of Dwarka, including Lord Balram, could recognize the sannyasis to be Arjuna. Therefore, all of them offered their respects and obeisances to the sannyasi without knowing the actual situation.
Okay, so this is it. This is Krishna. Now, the interesting thing here is that the Lord himself, the original Swayam Bhagavan, has devised this plan and instructed Arjuna, you stay here in Dwarka and you dress up as a sannyasi. and I want you to kidnap my sister. Don't tell Balaram, for God's sake. I mean, for my sake. Don't tell Balaram. He will be very upset because he wants Subhadra to marry one of his choices, like Shishupal or Rukmi, somebody else. Because Balaram is the Swayam Prakash Bhagwan. Krishna is Swayam Bhagwan, and this Balaram is Swayam Prakash Bhagwan. He is Lord. He is God in a different mood. Same Lord, but his color is different. His attitude is different. He's more favorable to the Asuras. So this is where God is. When we say in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 29, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, Krishna says, Samoham, I am equal, Sarva Bhuteshu, to all living entities. I am equal. This is where Krishna, he's equal to the Asuras and to the Sura, devotee and demon. And this is through Balaram, he can act in this way. So we know that Balaram is called Duryodhana Guru. Because Balaram, what did he teach Duryodhana? What did Balaram teach Duryodhana?
Did he teach the aspects of warfare, that Gada?
The Gada, yes. The Dhanurved Gada. He taught how to use the Gada. Therefore, when Bhima and Duryodhana were fighting, Duryodhana was more effective with the Gada than even Bhima. Even though Bhima was more powerful, Duryodhana could hit more times. And he could hit Bhima in different places. So, because Balaram was his guru, Bhima's guru was Drona. But with the Gada especially, God, Bhagawan, personally taught Duryodhana. Therefore, there was a perfect match. Balaram, Duryodhana was more expert. He was Daksha, Gada Daksha. He was very good Daksh with Gada and dancing. He could move better. He could hit many times. Bhim was very powerful. He could take the hits, and he would hit back, and clashing and sparks. When the Gada would hit, sparks would fly. This is all mentioned in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is a great book. We should read the Mahabharata. After we finish Krishna book, we'll start Mahabharata. How does that sound? Nobody? Yes?
The
Oh, yes. Smita Ben.
The book, the Pustak, where is that accessible then?
There's different books available. There's the long version. I used to sell them back in 90. Oh, look out, something is coming.
I've got this one.
Woo! By Purna Pragya Das. Purna Pragya is one of Prabhupada's Sanskrit Diksha disciples who is expert in. We'll follow this one. We'll follow it. We'll see if we can get a way to read this one somehow online.
Let's be clear. I'll have a look.
Or we can order.
It's Krishna's arrangement that we have this because we're already on chapter 86 and there's only 4 more chapters to go, folks.
Yeah.
So spread the news. The Mahabharata is starting soon. Excited, Chair?
Yeah, definitely.
Excited, Cho, sorry. Okay, let's carry on then.
Where we are? As I started Arjuna.
Yeah.
Okay. Arjuna, in the dress of Tridandi sannyasi, remained in the city of Dwarka for 4 months of the rainy season, devising a plan whereby he could get Subhadra as his wife. None of the inhabitants of Dwarka, including Lord Balrama, could recognize the sannyasi to be Arjuna. Therefore, all of them offered the respect and obeisances to the sannyasi without knowing the actual situation.
Go on, Smita.
I am lost, sorry.
One day,
Oh,
Lord
one day.
Balaram,
One day, Balaram invited this particular sannyasi to lunch at his home. Balaramji very respectfully offered him all kinds of palatable dishes, and the so-called sannyasi was eating sumptuously. While eating at the home of Balaramji, Arjun was simply looking at beautiful Subhadra, who was very enchanting to great heroes and kings. Out of love for her, Arjun's eyes brightened and he looked at her with glittering eyes. Arjun decided that somehow or other, he would achieve Subhadra as his wife, and his mind became agitated on account of this strong desire.
well, there we are. Arjuna, now the sannyasi, is looking at this beautiful girl with glittering eyes. Twinkle, 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 little star, how I wonder what you are. So, twinkling eyes, this love is in the eyes. There's many songs been written about this. Love is in the air. Love is in the eye. The beholder. Love is in the eye of the beholder who is looking. There's so many descriptions because this power of the love is there twinkling in the eyes of Arjuna to Subhadra. So this is also a very nice fact that everything isn't one, because there's love is there between individuals on the spiritual platform as well. But it's always in relationship to Krishna. Just like this Leela, the whole love between Subhadra and Arjuna is going directly under whose authority?
Lord Krishna.
Krishna himself has planned this. Go on, Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu.
Arjuna, the grandfather of Maharaj Parikshit, was himself extraordinarily beautiful, and his bodily structure was very attractive to Subhadra, who decided within her mind that she would accept only Arjuna as a husband. As a simple girl, she was smiling with great pleasure, looking at Arjuna. Thus, Arjuna also became more and more attracted by her. In this way, Subhadra dedicated herself to Arjuna, and he resolved to marry her by any means. He then became absorbed 24 hours a day in thought of how he could get Subhadra as his wife. He was afflicted with the thought of getting Subhadra and had not a moment's peace of mind.
That's Archana.
Once upon a time, Subhadra, seated on a chariot, came out of the palace to see the gods in the temple. Arjuna took this opportunity and with the permission of Vasudev and Devaki, he kidnapped her. After getting a Subhadra's chariot, he prepared himself for a fight. Taking up his bow and holding off with his arrows, the soldiers ordered to check him. Arjuna took Subhadra away. While Subhadra was thus being kidnapped by Arjuna, her relatives and family members began to cry, but still he took her, just as a lion takes his prey and departs. When it was disclosed to Lord Balrama that the so-called sannyasi was Arjuna, who had planned such a device simply to take away Subhadra, and that he had actually taken her, he became very angry, just as the waves of the ocean become agitated on a full moon day. Lord Balrama became greatly disturbed.
Oh, look, let's welcome Ritu.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. Sorry.
It's all right, Ritu. We're on chapter 86. Arjuna kidnaps Subhadra.
Yeah, just 1 minute.
Arjuna kidnaps Subhadra and Lord Krishna meets Shrutadeva and Bahulashva.
Chapter 86, right? What para?
We're about 9 paragraph from the start.
Which one, sorry?
9th paragraph from the start.
Okay. You.
So what's happened is Arjuna, under Krishna's instructions, Krishna has devised a plan. He wanted Arjuna to marry Subhadra, but Balaram had already planned Subhadra's marriage. So he said, you dress up as a sannyasi. Dress as a sannyasi, go and see her, and then when you get the opportunity, kidnap her and take it away, just like a lion takes away a small lamb or a small animal from the herd, and no matter what they say, the lion will run away. See, and therefore this is the point. Now Balaram's heard about it, and there's a big problem. So let's carry on with Smita.
Lord Krishna was in favor of Arjun. Therefore, along with the other members of the family, he tried to pacify Balaram by falling at his feet and begging him to pardon Arjuna. Krishna convinced Lord Balaram that Subhadra was attached to Arjun. And thus,
We missed a paragraph.
sorry. Sorry?
When it was disclosed to Lord Balaram, sorry, you just missed a little bit there.
Sorry. So Balaram, by falling at his feet and begging him to pardon Arjun, Krishna convinced Lord Balaram that Subhadra was attached to Arjun, and thus Balaram became pleased to know that she wanted Arjun as her husband. The matter was settled, and to please the newly married couple, Lord Balaram arranged to send a dowry consisting of an abundance of riches, including elephants, chariots, horses, men servants, and maid servants.
Yeah, carry on.
Maharaj Parikshit was very eager to hear more about Krishna, and so after finishing the narration of Arjun's kidnapping Subhadra, Sukadev Goswami began to narrate another story as follows.
Okay, so in that story, there's a little part which has been left out. I don't know why, but there's a part where Subhadra is hosting the sannyasi, the mysterious sannyasi who was actually Arjuna. And at one point she said, "Oh, Maharaj," she said, "Oh, Maharaj, hey, Maharaj, you must, in your travels, you must have heard of Balaram, of Arjuna. You must have heard of Arjuna, the son of Maharaj Pandu and one of the Panch Pandavas." "Yes," said the sannyasi, who was Arjuna. "Yes, I have heard of Arjuna. He's a very great warrior and a hero." "Oh," Subhadra said, "I would love to meet Arjuna. I really like him a lot." And she said, "Do you know where he is?" And the sannyasi said, "Yes, I do know where he is." "Oh, where is he right now?" said Subhadra. "He is right now sitting at this table talking to you." This is the part, I don't know why they've excluded it. I was waiting for this part. This is one of my favorite parts. And also another part of the story, I don't know what's happened here, but in my Krishna book, there's a much bigger story, is that when Arjuna decided to kidnap Subhadra, Subhadra personally, she yoked the horses. She got the horses and she put the reins on the horses, and Subhadra herself drove the chariot.
Yes, yes. I
Oh.
know that.
This is a very enthusiastic wife here. This is an example of someone who's dying to get married. She's desperate to get, this is desperate housewife. Before she's a Garapatni, she's just like, all right, Arjuna, I'm ready. Can you kidnap me now? Forget it, Arjuna. I'll kidnap you instead. So
Isn't
this-
it similar story to Krishna and Rukmani? It's not same but similar.
when
When Krishna,
well, when Krishna, he took Rukmini, yes, he kidnapped her like a lion, same way as a lion takes a lamb. And Rukmini, yes, it is very similar, very similar. Okay, so let's carry on then, Archana, with this part.
there was a householder Brahmana in the city of Mithila, the capital of the kingdom of Videha. These Brahmanas, whose name was Srutadeva, was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Because he was fully Krishna conscious and always engaged in the service of the Lord, he was completely peaceful in mind and detached from all material attraction. He was very learned and had no desire other than to be fully situated in Krishna consciousness. Although in the order of householder life, he never took great pain to earn anything for his livelihood. He was satisfied with whatever he could achieve without much endeavor, and somehow or other, he lived in that way. Every day he would get necessities of life in just quantity required and not more. That was his destiny. The Brahmana had no desire to get more than what needed, and thus he was peacefully executed in the regulative principle of Brahmana's life as enjoined in the revealed scriptures.
Yeah, it's very rare to find someone who's satisfied with little. One of the qualities of a Brahmana or pure Vaishnava, in this case, like Shuddhadev, is called Mita Bhuk. Mita Bhuk. Now we know Bhuk, matlab Bhuk lagi che, lagi hai, where Bhuk is hungry. It comes from the word bhoktva, to enjoy. And Bhuk, Mita Bhuk means eating little. So one of the symptoms of a Vaishnava is they eat not little necessarily, like one grain, like Rupa Goswami and Sanatan and Raghunath, especially Raghunath, would eat very, very little in their advanced stage of spiritual realization. They would eat very little, even sometimes all day they forget to eat. It wasn't like they were not eating, they just forget to eat. They were so absorbed in Krishna Lila and in the seva and the japa and the puja and all the aspects of Nava Bhakti, the 9 processes of Bhakti, that they just forget to eat. Well, isn't that nice to just forget to eat, to be absorbed in Krishna so much? Now, Shukadeva Goswami spoke this Bhagavatam for 7 days, the original Bhagavad Sapta. And Maharaj Pariksit, for 7 days, he didn't eat or drink. He was completely absorbed without thought of even drinking or eating, and hardly, I don't even think he slept. He was just totally fixed in Krishna consciousness. Maharaj Pariksit, whose name was Vishnu Rata, by the way. Okay, so that's just a little line there about that point. Carry on, Ritu.
Fortunately, the king of Mithila was a good was as good a devotee as the Brahmana. The name of this famous king was Bahulaswa. He was very well established in his reputation as a good king, and he was not at all ambitious to extend his kingdom for the sake of sense gratification. As such, both the Brahmana and the king Bahulaswa remained pure devotees of Lord Krishna in Mithila. Shall I carry on?
Go ahead, Smita.
Since Lord Krishna was very merciful towards these two devotees, King Bahulashwa and the Brahmana Srutadeva, he one day asked his driver, Daruka, to take his chariot into the capital city of Mithila. Lord Krishna was accompanied by the great sages Narad, Vamandev, Atri, Vyasadev, Parsurama, Asita, Aruni, Sukadev, Brahspati, Kanva, Maitreya, Jyavana, and others. Lord Krishna and the sages passed through many villages and towns, and everywhere the citizens would receive them with great respect and offer them articles of worship. To the citizens who came to see the Lord and all the assembled sages, it seemed as though the sun was present along with his various satellite planets. On that journey, Lord Krishna and the sages passed through the kingdoms of Anartha, Dhanva, Kuru, Jangala, Ganka, Matsya, Panchala, Kunti, Madhu, Kekaya, Koshala, and Arna. And thus all the citizens of these places, both men and women, could see Lord Krishna face to face. In this way, they enjoyed sensual happiness with open hearts full of love and affection for the Lord. And when they saw the face of the Lord, it seemed to them that they were drinking nectar through their eyes. When they saw Krishna, all the ignorant misconceptions of their lives dissipated. When the Lord passed through the various countries and the people came to visit him, simply by glancing over them, the Lord would bestow all good fortune upon them and liberate them from all kinds of ignorance. In some places, the demigods would enjoy with the human beings, and their glorification of the Lord would cleanse all directions of all inauspicious things. In this way, Lord Krishna gradually reached the kingdom of Videha.
Okay, thank you. Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu.
When the citizens received the news of Lord's arrival, they all felt unlimited happiness and came to welcome him, taking gifts in their hands to offer. As soon as they saw Lord Krishna, their hearts immediately blossomed in transcendental bliss, just like lotus flowers upon the rising of the sun. Previously, they had simply heard the names of the great sages, but had never seen them. Now, by the mercy of Lord Krishna, they had the opportunity of seeing both the great sages and Lord himself.
It must be amazing to see all these great personalities, Narada, Asita, Vyasadev, Shukadev, along with Krishna together. And just by seeing Krishna and the Lord glancing over the people, just by chance, you happen to be in the right place at the right time, all your ignorance is destroyed and you feel transcendental happiness and bliss, and your knowledge of the self-realization is just flowing, and you're elevated to the spiritual platform. It must just have been amazing. How nice. Who would like to be in that position? You just happen to be, putting the cat out for the night or something. You just happen to be, cleaning your car. And suddenly Lord Krishna and all these sages pass by, and all your ignorance goes to a distant place. Now that is amazing. That's pure kripa, pure kripa. Wow. Okay, carry on. Sorry, who's next? Who just spoke? Oh, go on, Archana.
King Bahulaswa and Brahmana Strutadeva, knowing well that the Lord had come there just to grace them with favor, immediately felt that the Lord's lotus feet and offered their respects. With folded hands, the king and the Brahmana each simultaneously invited Lord Krishna and all the sages to his home. In order to please both of them, the Lord Krishna expanded himself into two and went to the houses of each one of them. Yet neither the king nor the Brahmana could understand that the Lord had gone to the houses of the others. Both thought that the Lord had gone only to his own house, that he and his companion were present in the both houses, although both the Brahmana and the king thought he was present in one house only. Is another opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This opulence is described in the revealed scriptures as Vaibhava Praksa. When Lord Krishna married 16,000 wives, he expanded himself unto 16,000 forms, each one of them as powerful as he himself. Similarly, in Vrindavan, when Brahma stole Krishna's cows and cowherd boys, Krishna expanded himself into many new cows and boys. Amazing.
Vaibhav Prakash. Yes, Vaibhava Prakash. Krishna can expand. And not only did Krishna expand to go into each house of the Brahmin, Shukadev, and King Bahulashva, but the sages also expanded themselves. And this is the one of the siddhis of the yogi, is that a yogi can expand himself up to 9 times. This is explained in the story of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. And when Devahuti was very on heat, she was really wanting to have a marriage and fulfill her womanly desires with her husband. Kardama Muni expanded his body 9 times. It's explained. So a great yogi can actually expand their body up to 9 times. So Narad, Vyas, these are all Nitya Siddha, their eternal Shukadev, they all can expand their forms up to 9 times. So they only did it two times, one in Shukadev, one in Bahulashva. So that answers that question if it came up. All right, Smita.
Bahulashva, the king of Videha, was very intelligent and was a perfect gentleman. He was astonished that so many great sages, along with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were personally present in his home. He knew perfectly well what conditioned souls engaged in worldly affairs cannot be 100% pure, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his pure devotees are always transcendental to worldly contamination. Therefore, when he found that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and all the great sages were at his home, he was astonished, and he began to thank Lord Krishna for his causeless mercy.
Ritu.
Feeling very much obliged and wanting to receive his guests to the best of his ability, he called for nice chairs and cushions, and Lord Krishna, along with all the sages, sat down very comfortably. At that time, King Bahulaswa's mind was very restless, not because of any problems, but because of great ecstasy of love and devotion. His heart was filled with love and affection for the Lord and his associates, and his eyes were filled with tears of ecstasy. He washed the feet of his divine guests, and afterward he and his family members sprinkled the water on their own heads. After this, he offered the guests nice flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, incense, new garments, ornaments, lamps, cows, and bulls. In a manner just befitting his royal position, he worshipped each one of them in this way. When all had been fed sumptuously and were sitting very comfortably, Bahulaswa came before Lord Krishna and caught his lotus feet. He placed them on his lap and while massaging the feet with his hand, began began to speak about the glories of the Lord in a sweet voice.
Very nice. Go on, Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu.
My dear Lord, you are the super soul of all living entities, and as the witness within the heart, you are cognizant of everyone's activities. Thus, we are duty bound to always think of your lotus feet, so that we can remain in a secure position and not deviate from your eternal service. As a result of our continuous remembrance of your lotus feet, you have kindly visited my place personally to favor me with your causeless mercy. We have heard, my dear Lord, that by your various statements you confirm your pure devotees to be more dear to you than Lord Balram or your constant servitor, the goddess of fortune. Your devotees are dearer to you than your first son, Lord Brahma. And I'm sure that you have so kindly visited my place in order to prove your divine statement. I cannot imagine how people can be godless and demoniac, even after knowing of your causeless mercy and affection for your devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. How can people who know of these things forget your lotus feet?
Okay, so we'll finish at that point. I want you to go to your WhatsApp messages now on your phone, and we'll recite one prayer for this Adivas month that is to be recited not once a day, but up to 33 times a day. So it's said that if you recite this mantra 33 times a day, this prayer,
What time?
anytime, morning, even you can do 10 in the morning, 10 at noon, 10 at night. But in a day you recite, or 11, Father, 11 is 33. It's auspicious, and you will definitely get the special mercy of Sri Purushottam Krishna. And if you recite Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter every day this month, you get 1,000 times the benefit in your devotional service. So it's a very special month, and therefore we can recite the prayer. Please repeat. Govardhana Dharam Bande.
Govardhana
Vardhana Dharam Vande
Gopalam Goparupinam.
Gopalam Gopa Rupinam
Gokulotsavam Ishanam.
Gopulotsavam Ishanam
It's Isha, not Isa, Ishanam.
Ishanam
Govindam Gopika Priyam.
Govindam Gopika Priyam.
So in all these lines, the word Go is there, signifying the guy, Goma.
Cows.
So this is a very special prayer, Govardhana Dharam Bande. There is nothing more dear to Krishna than Govardhan, because Govardhan is the place where the cows would go and eat the grass, and they would spend time there. Krishna would spend much time in Govardhan. So Govardhana Dharam Vande. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Supreme Lord Krishna, who lifted the Govardhan hill. Gopalam Goparupinam. He is the maintainer and protector of the cows. He assumed the form of a Gopa, Gopalam, and perform various transcendental pastimes. He is the great joy and grand festival of Gokula, Gokul Otsavam, Utsav, Gokul Otsavam, Ishanam. He gives pleasure to the cows and the senses, and Gopika, Govindam, Gopika Priyam. He is the beloved of the most dearly beloved of the cowherd damsels of Vrindavan. So this is a nice prayer to learn by heart. Govardhana Dhram Vande, Govardhana Dhram Vande. It's easy to learn shloka. You just repeat it 10 times. Govardhana Dharam Vande, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Govardhana Dharam Vande, Govardhana Dharam Vande. By the 10th time, it's gone into your subconscious. Then the next line, which is Gopalam, Gopa Rupinam, his form. He's taken the form of a Gopa. Gopalam, Gopa. His name is Gopala, and he's a Gopal, Gopal Rupa. He's a simple boy, cowherd boy. He's not a Kshatriya prince. He's not Krishna as we see him now in the 86th chapter of the Krishna book. As Krishna in 86th chapter, he's prince. He's a Kshatriya. He's visiting kings and Brahmins, and he is involved in all kinds of stately affairs as a great prince with weapons, etc. But here, Gopa Rupinam, he's a very simple cowherd boy with cows and calves living on a farm. Then the next line is, what's the next line now? Gokulotsavam, Ishitvam, Ishanam, Gopalotsavam, Ishanam. So, and then the final one is Govindam, Gopa, Gopika, Priyam. Govindam, Gopika, Priyam. So just by reciting Govindam, Gopika, Priyam, Govinda, Gopika, Priyam, Govindam, Gopika, Priyam, Govindam, Gopika, Priyam, you learn the shloka very, very quickly, and then this will be with you every Adivas. Every 3 years, you can recite this 33 times a day for 1 month, and hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you very much.
Krishna. Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Smita. Thanks for joining, Smita. Let's give Smita a big wave. Haribol.
No.
Hare
Hare
Bol,
Krishna.
Smita Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
My
Haribol.
humble obeisances to you all.
Yes, and spread the mercy. Govindam, Gopika,
Gopal
Priyam.
Priyam.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Bol, Hare Krishna.